Class 2 restorations with deeper margins have got you worried? Tried restoring a proximal wall but eventually did not end up getting the proper contour and form? Well, stay tuned till the end of this video while I explain you how to tackle this problem. In our routine practice, we come across cases where the decay is in the proximal surface of the tooth. All of us may agree to this fact that most of the carious lesions today are subgingival, or maybe I would go one step further and say that they are probably equiosseous also. In such scenarios, we need something to help us recreate the exact contour and form of the tooth. In the next few minutes of this video, I am going to share with you effective and predictable ways to achieve this. Before we get into our presentation, I hope that you have subscribed to my channel and do not forget to click the bell icon. So what are the characteristics of a good matrix band? It should be rigid, it should be able to establish proper anatomical contour, it should restore the correct proximal contact, it should be easy to adapt to the tooth, and it should have an ability to be contoured according to specific situations. Well, today in this video, we are going to discuss all about the universal retainer, which is nothing but the Toffelmeier retainer. Well, the Toffelmeier retainer was introduced by Dr. B.R. Toffelmeier. Now, when it comes to these Toffelmeier retainer, there are three types which are available in the market. So one is a universal Toffelmeier, which is straight. Second is a contra angle Toffelmeier, which has the anterior assembly at an angle, at a 45-degree angle. Third type of Toffelmeier retainer is actually used for pediatric cases, and it is called as a junior contra Toffelmeier retainer. Now the bands which are to be used, or maybe I would say a general classification of the matrix bands which are available, can be classified into a circumferential matrix band or maybe sectional matrix band. Now Toffelmeier falls into the category of a circumferential matrix band because it hugs the tooth circumferentially all around the tooth. Other types of matrix band in a circumferential type of matrix bands are automatrix and the T-band. When it comes to sectional matrices, we have the Paladin, Garrison, BioClear, Ivory, Strip, T-Mac, etc. There are specific Toffelmeier bands which have to be used in the Toffelmeier retainer. These bands are available in two thickness, that is 0.05 and 0.038. Now the types of Toffelmeier bands which are available are adult universal, it is adult MOD wide, it is adult MOD narrow, and pedo universal. Apart from that, we have few Toffelmeier bands which can be used for premolar, specific premolar cases, and there can be some modifications or some design variation in the Toffelmeier bands which different companies may manufacture. Now, a common mistake what everyone does, and which I have seen personally and even I have experienced with myself, is using an ivory matrix band in a Toffelmeier retainer. Well, here I would like to pause for a moment, and I would like to specify here that that one should be using a Toffelmeier band in a Toffelmeier retainer. Do not use an ivorine band in a Toffelmeier retainer. So ivorine bands, they are the same bands which are in a rectangular configuration. Now, before I explain you more in detail with a demonstration, one error that commonly I have seen is the guiding post, the U configuration which is there at the anterior part of the retainer, should always be facing cervically and not occlusally or incisally. If it happens that the U is facing towards occlusal or incisal, then there is a possibility that you may not have a very tight grip on the tooth and the retainer may loosen out. Before starting, see to that the U is always facing towards gingiva, or it is facing towards the cervical part of the tooth. So this is the Toffelmeier retainer, and let's understand now what exactly is the working of the entire assembly. Now, as we have discussed the parts of the Toffelmeier retainer, this is the outer nut, this is the inner nut. These are the slots where the Toffelmeier retainer can be the assembly can be placed in a manner where we need to isolate the right quadrant or the left quadrant, and this is the slot or the diagonal slot where the Toffelmeier retainer, the Toffelmeier band gets attached to the Toffelmeier retainer. Now, one thing that I would like to highlight here is that whenever I am moving the inner screw or the larger screw, the diagonal slot moves up and down. So before I start placing my matrix band on the retainer, I need to check, I need to reconfirm that this diagonal slot which is there has to be near the this assembly which is there has to be near these slots before I place the matrix band on the retainer. Now, coming to the bands, now there are two kinds of bands which are available. There is a band number 101 and there is a band number 102. Now the 102 band which is there, it has these extra lips where it can be used for extreme subgingival situations. Now suppose if one of the proximal surface does not have a deep subgingival lesion, I can simply cut off one of this lip here. And I can use it only for one particular subgingival surface. And the other one, since it does not have a deep subgingival cavity, I can use it in a conventional manner. So the 101 band which is there, it is nothing but it looks like this. So it does not have any extensions for extreme subgingival cases. So when it comes to not increasing unnecessary inventory, I always buy the 102 bands because I can convert a 102 band into a 101 band. So let's see the working of the entire Toffelmeier retainer and band assembly. Now, whenever I need to start placing the matrix band on the retainer, I need to approximate these two ends. Now, once I have approximated these two ends, what I need to do is it forms a surface, or this matrix band forms a configuration. Now, our teeth are narrow cervically and they are wider occlusally. Therefore, this particular surface or the inner circumference, you can say, and outer circumference. So the inner circumference, which is a smaller one, would always be cervical, and this outer circumference which is there, it would always be occlusal. Therefore, whenever I am trying to place the matrix band on the retainer, I need to check whether I am placing the band in a proper way or not. So as you can see here, this is the inner circumference which is smaller and the outer circumference is larger. So the inner circumference should always be cervical. So I go ahead and I am placing my matrix matrix band in the Toffelmeier retainer. Now, as you can see here, the matrix band is not getting completely seated. Why it does not get completely seated? Because the outer nut is not loosened. So I need to loosen the outer nut a bit so that I get space to push my matrix band in the diagonal slot. It is still not loosened. I need to loosen it more. Now, as you can see, now the matrix band completely gets adapted in the diagonal slot. Now, once it has been completely adapted, I place my finger here and I go ahead and I tighten the outer nut, and this secures the matrix band on the retainer. So even if I am trying to pull, the matrix band won't be coming out. Now suppose if I have cases where I need to place the matrix band on the posterior teeth, then I cannot use this particular assembly on my posterior tooth, because what happens is that the matrix band gets excessively tensed over this curvature, and the entire assembly won't allow complete placement of my Toffelmeier retainer. Therefore, in these situations, what I need to do is, while I am trying to place the matrix band on the retainer, I need to adjust it and I need to pre-curve it and then tighten the outer nut. So now, as you can see, now this assembly can be used for my mandibular left and my maxillary right. Or if I were to use on the other side, then I would be loosening this assembly and then I can use it on my other side. So this assembly can be used for my mandibular right and my maxillary left. Now, let's take a clinical situation here where there is a cavity which is situated on the distal of tooth number 6. Okay, so now as you can see here, there is no subgingival cavity which is situated on the mesial of it. Therefore, in this situation, what I need to do is I need to cut one of the lip on the band. So I'm cutting one of the lip because the other surface is not subgingival. So I go ahead, I'm cutting one of the lip, and there you go. So I'm going ahead and I'm placing the matrix band now on the retainer. Now only one part of the band has the extra additional hip, which will be getting adapted on the distal part of the tooth. Therefore, when I'm trying to place the matrix band on the Toffelmeier retainer, I need to visualize this, that once I have placed it on the retainer, this lip which is there would be coming exactly on the distal part of the tooth. So I go ahead, I place my matrix band in the retainer slot, and since this is a mandibular right quadrant, I would be taking it to the left side. So I go ahead and I'm tightening the outer nut. Now as you can see here, there is one problem that has happened. Now the band has been placed in a proper manner, but if you see, this lip is made for the mesial aspect. See, let me demonstrate it to you. See, what is happening here is, when I am trying to place the matrix band on the tooth, the lip has now come to the mesial aspect, which is wrong. I want the lip to come to the distal aspect. So how do I tackle this situation? I again loosen this up and I place the Toffelmeier retainer in a reverse manner. See, I've just reversed the matrix band. That's it. I go ahead, I again place it. And now, as you can see, now the hip is on the distal aspect. So I go ahead and I'm securing the matrix band on the Toffelmeier retainer. Now when I go ahead and I place my matrix band on the tooth, the hip now corresponds to the distal part of the cavity. So I go ahead, so as you can see, the hip is now towards the distal aspect. Mesial, there is no hip, so it is not going to lacerate the gingiva. Now when I start tightening of the Toffelmeier retainer, always place a thumb here, because as I tighten, there is a possibility that this retainer gets lifted up. So when I start tightening, I'm placing one thumb over this assembly, and then I start tightening the inner nut. So once this is tightened, now it is secure on the tooth. As you can see, there is a proper adaptation of the band over the cervical region of the tooth. Now we go ahead and I complete our restoration. So this is the entire working of a Toffelmeier retainer. Now once your restoration is completed, removal of the Toffelmeier retainer is also a unique way. Now a unique way to remove this is, instead of loosening the bigger nut, always loosen up the smaller nut. So what do I do here? I loosen the smaller nut, then instead of lifting the entire assembly, only remove the retainer out first, and then you go ahead and you remove your matrix band. And this is how you remove the Toffelmeier retainer. Now the matrix band or the Toffelmeier band can be placed on the Toffelmeier retainer in three configurations. It can be anterior, it can be on the left, or it can be either on the right. If it is straight, or the matrix band is not placed at an angle on the Toffelmeier retainer, then those are used for specifically for our anterior tooth work. Now if I am using this same kind of assembly on the posterior tooth, the Toffelmeier retainer may not fit properly on the tooth because the matrix band gets excessively curved, and there is a lot of tension in the matrix band which can lead to breakage of the band itself. Therefore, when it comes to posterior teeth, it is always necessary that we angle the matrix band and then place it on the Toffelmeier retainer. Now, by default, it is a rule that we place this Toffelmeier retainer from the buccal aspect. Okay, so the Toffelmeier retainer, whether it is a maxillary quadrant or a mandibular quadrant, it always fits from the buccal part. If it is a mandibular left and maxillary right quadrant, then I would be placing the Toffelmeier on the right. If it is a mandibular right and maxillary left quadrant, then I would be placing the Toffelmeier on the left. As you can see the image in the front of your screen, this is how the retainer should look before I start placing it in the patient's mouth. However, there are situations where the buccal wall is missing. So in such cases, when a lingual wall is present but the buccal wall is missing, then in such situations it is mandatory that we place the Toffelmeier retainer from the lingual aspect. So as you can see in front of your screen, this is how the assembly should look if I am trying to place the retainer from the lingual side. So for my mandibular right and maxillary left, the Toffelmeier band would be fitting, which has an angle towards the right, and for my mandibular left and maxillary right, it would be on the left. However, I would recommend that instead of the straight or the universal Toffelmeier band, I would suggest that when we are placing a Toffelmeier retainer from the lingual aspect, the anterior teeth interfere with the complete placement or tightening of the assembly. So it is always necessary that whenever we are trying to place the Toffelmeier retainer from the lingual aspect, always use the quadrangle type of Toffelmeier retainer. Now let's understand the Toffelmeier assembly and placement, or maybe I would say the contact building with the adjacent tooth more in detail. So suppose if I were to do a post-endodontic restoration where I would be giving some kind of indirect coverage over that tooth, then it makes sense that I would be using my Toffelmeier retainer for my build-up, for my core build-up, because whenever we are using a Toffelmeier retainer, I would have a contact which is situated more in the coronal aspect, or maybe in some cases I would also have an open contact. Therefore, once I have done my post-endodontic restoration, it is necessary and it is mandatory that I give some kind of occlusal indirect restoration so that I get the perfect contact with the adjacent tooth, the normal convex form which I have. So as you can see in the image in the front of your screen, the yellow is the post-endodontic restoration which was done with the Toffelmeier retainer, following which after this indirect occlusal coverage, indirect restoration has been given to make the proper contact with the adjacent tooth. Now, in case if I have a endodontic case, or maybe if it is not an endodontic restoration and it is just a it is just a routine restorative case, then it makes sense that I should not be using my Toffenmeyer retainer for my proximal buildup. Instead, in such cases, I would recommend that you please use your sectional matrices for completing the core buildup in that particular case. So, so let's take an example here that after doing the endodontic treatment, we take a decision that a crown or an indirect restoration is not to be given. Then it makes sense that in these kind of situations, you complete the restoration by using the sectional matrices and do not use your Toffenmeyer retainer for your post endodontic buildup. Because if we are using a Toffenmeyer retainer, again the contact which is going to form is going to be more situated in the coronal aspect, and it won't be the ideal convex form which we have with any natural tooth. Now there are few situations where the cavity is placed far more subgingival, and whenever I am trying to use my sectional matrix, the sectional matrix does not get completely adapted till the cervical part of the tooth. So in such cases, we need to go ahead with our hybrid approach, in which I am using a Toffenmeyer retainer first to do an initial buildup of 1 to 1.5 millimeters, following which then I would be using my sectional matrices to do the rest of the buildup. Now this technique is popularly known as deep margin elevation, as it is invented by Pascal Mangin. So let's see a clinical implication of this particular technique. Now this is a case where the patient had a lot of food impaction between tooth number 6 and 7. Now the tooth number 6 had a subgingival cavity on the distal part of the tooth. So once the tooth was isolated, for the initial build-up, we used a Toffenmeyer retainer first. Now, as you can see here, once I placed the Toffenmeyer retainer, I did not have complete adaptation at the cervical part of the tooth. Therefore, when a wedge was placed, there is a complete adaptation of the Toffenmeyer retainer with the cervical part of the tooth. Therefore, in such situations, it is necessary that we use a wedge to completely seal the gap, so that whenever I am using my bulk fill flowable material, it does not overflow and we don't get an overhang. Of course, even if I get an overhang, I can still remove it, but it takes a lot of time and it is not that easy to remove that overhang in the cervical part of the tooth. So from the starting point itself, if we are cautious and we do not allow this overflow of the bulk flow material, so this is how the deep margin elevation was done. Now there are few situations where the Toffenmeyer retainer does not get completely, it does not seat completely till the end of the tooth. Somewhere it gets stuck. So let's see how to tackle this situation. So in the same clinical case, as you can see here, the Toffenmeyer band has got kinked, or it has got bent while I was trying to pass it at the cervical region of the tooth. So to tackle this situation, what we need is to slightly loosen up the Toffenmeyer retainer, and with any plastic filling instrument, the portion where the Toffenmeyer band has been bent, I need to straighten it up. And once the band has been straightened, I need to again push it further down more beyond the cervical region or the cervical part of the cavity. Once this is done, I am holding it with my left hand and I am tightening the Toffenmeyer retainer with my right hand. And as you can see here, now the matrix band has been properly adapted till the end of the cavity. Now, as you can see here, to adapt the matrix band more properly, I am using a wedge so that I have no gap between the band and the tooth. As we have discussed earlier, we should not be having any overflow of the composite material. So the band is now adapted well. Now we go ahead and do our deep margin elevation. This is another case where we use a Toffenmeyer retainer for deep margin elevation. This was a case where an old amalgam filling was done and there was secondary decay below it. So once the amalgam was removed and the tooth was isolated, now as you can see in this video that I'm trying different matrix bands. I tried the BioClear bands, I tried the sectional matrices, but none of the matrices were actually getting properly adapted to the cervical part of the tooth because the margin was very much subgingival, or maybe I would say it was almost equiosseous. So I'm putting my effort to adapt the matrix band completely over the tooth, but since the cavity is far more subgingivally situated, it is just not possible. So in this case, we did a hybrid approach, as we have discussed earlier, where we are using a Toffelmeier retainer first to do the deep margin elevation. So 1 to 1.5 millimeters of the build-up is done, following which then we use any kind of sectional matrices to fill up the rest of the cavity. As you can see in this video, none of the matrix band are giving proper adaptation to the cavity configuration. Therefore, as you can see here, when a Toffelmeier was placed, it gave a proper seal. It circumferentially, it gave a proper seal. I could do my deep margin elevation with my bulk fill flow material. So 1 to 1.5 millimeters is built with this bulk fill flow material. As you can see, there's a tiny air bubble which got incorporated and it was tackled, just kneading the air bubble with a probe. And once this is done, the material is light cured. Once the material is light cured, then we went ahead, and now when I place my saddle matrix for the contact generation, the matrix fitted perfectly well. And when I completed my restoration, it has the ideal configuration, ideal contour, and all the seal that I need at the cervical part of the tooth. So this is how you tackle extreme subgingival cases. So you always use a hybrid approach where we are using a Toffelmeier retainer or a circumferential retainer first, followed by the sectional matrix band. Now there are situations where the cavity is situated on the distal most part of the last tooth in the patient's mouth. Now in such cases, when we have isolated the entire tooth, when we are using a Toffelmeier retainer, it fits perfectly well if the deepest margin of the cavity is not very much subgingival. But in case if the as you can see in this case, the distal most margin of the tooth was not deeply situated, so the Toffelmeier retainer fitted perfectly well. But there are situations where the margin is very, very deep. In such cases, the Toffelmeier retainer does not work because the rubber dam clamp interferes with the placement of the Toffelmeier matrix and the retainer. So in such situations, what I would advise is always use a saddle matrix band. So whenever I have a case of where the cavity is situated on the distal part of the last tooth in the patient's mouth, for me the ideal choice is always a saddle matrix system. Do not use the Toffelmeier because the rubber dam clamp, it interferes with the Toffelmeier retainer placement. Now there are still situations where we can use a Toffelmeier for our restorative composite build-up. Now as you can see the case in front of your screen, this is a case where tooth number 5 was root canal treated and it was indicated for a crown. A crown was supposed to be given on this particular tooth. So the tooth number 6 had a proximal decay where we use the Toffelmeier retainer for the composite build-up. Now after the composite build-up was done, I had the composite which actually had a flat configuration because I had used a flat matrix, something like a Toffelmeier. Therefore, after the composite build-up was done, this composite restoration was contoured and it was made convex. Of course, it is still possible, but placing a Toffelmeier retainer is again a bit faster as compared to your sectional matrix band. Now, this is another situation where you can still use the Toffelmeier retainer and still achieve a proper convex form by using a band-in-band technique. So in this case, as you can see, the tooth number 6 had a distal decay and the tooth number 7 was root canal treated. So in this case, what did I do? I placed a Toffelmeier retainer first, and inside this Toffelmeier retainer, a sectional contour matrix band was placed. So the sectional contour matrix band gave me the normal convex form which any particular tooth has, and the Toffelmeier retainer here, it uh, it was acting like a stabilizer for this sectional contour matrix band. So always use this band in band technique whenever we need to do a build up of an adjacent tooth which is root canal treated. So this is like a small tip where you can use best of both the worlds. So Toffelmeier band is used because it is more fast and easy to place, and the sectional matrix band gave me the ideal convex contour which any tooth has. Now another hack which I came across, a recent post by Pascal Manier which he had shared on his Instagram page, is that whenever we are tightening, or when we are once we have placed the Toffelmeier retainer and band on the tooth, suppose we excessively tighten the screw to hug the tooth, there is a possibility that the matrix band gets torn. So a simple hack that he has suggested is the groove which is placed on the outer nut. A slight bevel can be given with a burr so that there is no excessive tension at this particular area which leads to breaking of the band. So this is a small hack which can be used as suggested by Pascal Manier. So as you have seen in this video, how to use the Toffelmeier retainer in different forms. Well, in the end, I would only like to say one thing, that Toffelmeier retainer is a great adjunct when it comes to restoring proximal forms. It is fast, it is convenient, it is very easy to use. So there are situations where Toffelmeier would be the perfect choice in those particular cases. Therefore, please try and implement the retainer in your daily practice. Well, to end, we are giving you a free ebook. The link to download the same is there in the description below. Please go ahead and please download these free ebooks which are related to endodontic, composites and rubber dam. See you again in the next video.